Welcome to the Stuff and Things Podcast, your home for all stuff related to your favorite things in entertainment. Now, here are your hosts.
Started to really love that Ms. Marvel ping coming in. This is the Stuff and Things podcast. I am Sam. Welcome everybody to the Ms. Marvel finale episode of our show. Joining me once again, my partner in crime, it's Stefan.
I am here.
Good man. And bringing the joy as always, Marvel superfan, Kaylee.
Hello.
Oh, see, she does that. It's just like a very joyful hello. It's very...
Oh, well, Stefan sang hello today, so I did, albeit very out of tune, but hello.
That's fine. You don't have to be able to sing to do the podcast, as I have proven many a time.
As we know, Kaylee is the people's champion, so, you know,
yeah.
it's fine. Not bitter,
yes.
not bitter, just
No, not bitter. just straight facts whilst I sit here eating my lemon.
Yep.
Yeah. No, it's nice. I mean, it's great that we get this kind of feedback that we get. I mean, it's much better than the usual stuff, you know, like how the hell did this guy end up with a podcast with this many people following it, stuff like that, you know, which when my mum emails in is always nice to hear from her. I want to open the show this week. We are going to talk about Ms. Marvel, the finale, which is season 1, episode 6. Stefan, quickly, the title of the episode was...
No Normal.
Good man. But we're going to open very quickly with just some general feedback we had. We get a lot of comments on all the shows that we do on here, and we seem to have hit some sort of, I don't know, really, a comment gold mine when it comes to Ms. Marvel, where probably for the first time in doing the show, we've had a genuine, I don't know what the right word is, a genuine kind of feeling that we are in the wrong over what we're saying, which is... beyond, hey, I listen to your opinion, I don't necessarily agree because of this, which is the kind of comment when I get I really enjoy. I think I've talked about it before, it's like, you know, this is all just about opinions, and I love the debate aspect of it, and I've always replied to people with those types of comments, but this time it's kind of an actual accusation, a kind of, you've said this because of this. Tempted to go through them all, but I'm not going to. I'm just simply going to say this show, we're focusing on the positive side of things. We're focusing on what we believe are our opinions and now they're valid. And if you do have feelings like that, one, I want to question why you listen to every single episode just to get to the end of the episode and email in the same vitriol. And two, you should just listen to Kaylee say hello. I mean, there's a joyful person right there with a big smile on her face. I refuse to believe people aren't smiling after hearing that. So we're going to dive into just a couple of comments. Now, the main reason why we're going to dive into these is because we have to feed Kaylee's ego. You see, she is...
Otherwise, I won't come back.
Exactly. She's an ego monster, and we need her to come back to talk about other shows in the future. And so the first one here is a guy called Chris. Chris is from Birmingham, England. Thank you for specifying, because I think it was in Birmingham. Yeah, if in Alabama or in Birmingham. But yeah, Birmingham, England. Chris says, and I've insulted him, really enjoyed the Ms. Marvel series. Like you guys, kind of felt like 4 and 5 meandered a little. Good episodes, good content, but just didn't feel like it had the same direction as the early episodes. But the finale really hit home. They stuck the landing, says Chris. Really enjoying your take, and I think Kaylee's a great addition to the show. Ugh.
What can I say? The people love me.
Yeah, I know. The next one is from Christina. Christina, you don't say where you're from, but hello. Christina says, love how Kaylee says hello. She's so joyful.
You should see how many shots she does before we start recording.
I know, right? Yeah, if people knew the amount she drank early in the morning, they'd understand. But yeah. The next comment here is from Peter. Peter, you're in London. Peter in London says, Enjoyed the Ms. Marvel show. Don't understand some of the comments you've had, but hey ho, maybe that's just me. In brackets, Kaylee, I'm a 40-year-old white guy too. Enjoying it. I think your take's spot on. I felt episodes 4 and 5 got a little bit lost, so I understood what you were trying to say. Episode 6 absolutely nailed it for me, and OMG, that ending! He does say more, but I'm kind of stopping it there, because, we're going to get to that. Just 2 more. The first one is from Sarah. Sarah is in Cardiff. Hello, Sarah. Oh, hello, my friend. How are you over in Cardiff? Look, you. Be to goodness, make sure the sheep's away, see. And Sarah says, if she's still listening after that abuse, absolutely loving the show. Think you're all great. I think the dynamic between the 3 of you really helped with Ms. Marvel. The different perspectives from the different age brackets and backgrounds, really good. Stefan, where exactly are you from? You sound like you should be on The Only Way is Essex.
Oh, no! Oh.
Sarah, you are my new hero. Do you want to know the funniest thing about that is I genuinely didn't read the last 2 comments. I just grabbed them quickly this morning, so I don't know what the next one says either. So I've just scrolled down through my phone and read it as I'm saying it. It's like, oh, you're my new hero.
I hate the fact she's right. I am from Essex.
There you go. Yeah, he's Essex. Essex, what?
I've been on other TV Actually, I've been on that TV show, actually. Yeah, I can't even...
Yeah.
I've been there. I've done that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Stefan's very famous. Stefan, why don't you tell people what you're most famous for?
There's another podcast called Spurs News.
Not that one.
And I got onto Amazon for it. So, yeah, that was cool.
That's a reason why I dislike you. But no, you were on a TV show about being a badly behaved little boy.
I was episode 1, season 6 of World's Strictest Parents. I went to Ghana. Yeah,
he really did, and it's weird how people remember that show. By the way, it's like you get proper stalked over it. It's bizarre.
Someone I know who also went on that show first season has set up a TikTok account and tagged me in a comment talking about something that happened. My TikTok has blown up because all of a sudden people are like, "Oh my god, you're that guy from the show!" No,
yes,
I was that child.
Yes, I was.
I'm not that man. There's a difference.
Just so everyone knows, signed photographs are 6x10, £5 each. He'll also come to bar mitzvahs, christenings. The final comment then, and thank you, Sarah. Genuinely, Sarah, you've made my day. So thank you so much. The final comment is from. Okay, sorry, that says Charlotte. Sorry. You've written... Charlotte, I don't know what you've done there. Oh, no, I do see it now. Sorry, everyone. Total nonsense. Ignore me. So Charlotte says, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the show. I've really enjoyed Ms. Marvel, and I think it's one of the best shows they've done on Disney Plus for Marvel. Realise it gets a lot of hate, but I think it gets a lot of hate because there's a lot of guys who just can't accept the fact this show isn't necessarily aimed at them. I think the character of Kamala in the comic books is very different than one in the TV show, and would love you guys to maybe comment on that if you can. Looking forward to listening to what you do in the future. Please, please, please tell me that you're going to be getting Kaylee back to do more episodes. Why? You've ruined it.
Thanks, Charlotte. Let's be besties.
Thanks, Charlotte. And Charlotte, learn how to spell your own name, all right? No, I'm joking. She put at the start, Charlotte, Charlie. So obviously I think you go by Charlie, but she clarified it was Charlotte, so I knew, gender, I guess. But there's actually a place called Charlotte, and I thought it was, I'm Charlie from Charlotte. That's why I sounded so confused at the beginning, but I got there. So anyway, all right, yeah, so those are the messages. Thank you so much. We did get a fair few more. I've replied to a lot of emails this week to everyone who took the time. Always feel free in the future to do that. Now, time to focus in on the episode then, and it is quite the episode. It is the finale of this season. Not sure if there will be another season. It would appear it's been left open-ended that there could be, but at the same time, I think similar to the other shows, we're going to see kind of these characters in other situations rather than necessarily back in this. So I want to open very quickly just to discuss that. So one of the characters in the show, one of the main characters in this show is Bruno. Bruno is off to Caltech.
Yep.
That to me felt like a very deliberate plot point. He's an absolute smart-ass genius. He's about to transfer across to Caltech, California. Can anyone think of another and I'm asking this genuinely, I don't have anything in mind. Can anyone think of another property or project that they know of on the slate at the moment where he could possibly show up?
Well,
Caltech is the uni of choice in a lot of films in general, not just Marvel. In every American film, it's like the place to go if you're a nerd.
Yeah.
And it pops up in quite a lot of Marvel movies.
No, you're absolutely right. It does. I'm kind of, in my mind, I'm looking at the projects going forward. I've got to believe they've introduced these characters and they're not just going to dump them. Like, this show introduced us to Ms. Marvel. We know where she is going from this point. But it would feel kind of sad to then for all of us to be a bit like, okay, so what happens to Bruno now? What happens to, all these different characters? I got to believe that in some way there is a continuation. And it just kind of felt to me a very deliberate thing with him about going to Caltech. We've been introduced that he's a smartass. And the show that I keep looking at and thinking, I wonder, is the show Armor Wars. Because we know that someone is basically going to replicate the Iron Man tech.
The Ironheart, Riri something. What's her name? Riri. No, it's gone.
Yeah,
but she becomes Ironheart.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of feels like there could be something there, an obvious link, or I'm just overthinking it, which of course is infinitely possible.
A fun thing for you, I did kind of have the same sort of thought.
Yeah.
So I had a little Google about, what characters from the MCU go Caltech.
Yeah.
Currently, we've not really seen it mentioned, but Bruce Banner got his doctorate in nuclear physics at Caltech.
Yeah.
Reed Richards went to many universities, including Caltech. Other people that are linked to it is Captain America, Tony Stark, Spider-Man, Peter Parker. Yeah. So in the comics and stuff, there is a lot of people linked to Caltech. How many will actually make it through into the MCU stuff? Be fun to see.
Yeah, it just felt very deliberate. It kind of feels like we're going to get another show set in California, perhaps, and we're going to, all of a sudden, he's going to be there. It's like, oh, wow, there he is.
Yeah,
Bruno!
From my understanding, the Ironheart was at MIT, which is where MJ and Ned have just gone.
Yeah.
So I thought myself that could be where MJ and Ned now appear.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I'd love to see Ned and Bruno together as the guys in the chair. I think those two would be hilarious.
Yeah, that is the show. Guys in the chair. It's just those two. Yeah, I don't know. I still like the idea of the Sorcerer and the Apprentice, Wong with Ned, just like training him. That show appeals to me.
I would love that.
Yeah, those two are great. So, right, I want to kind of dive around a little bit, but I want to open with a discussion on the DODC. Kaylee, I'm going to put this to you first of all. The DODC, Department of Damage Control, the very first time we were kind of introduced to these guys was back in the very first Spider-Man film, where we're introduced as their offshoot government branch working with Tony Stark to clear up after the Battle of New York. Department of Damage Control, it doesn't seem to be any kind of extension to that, really, that they are literally there to clean up after. However, over time, they seem to have evolved into an agency, almost, not to SHIELD level, but agents, and they even refer to themselves as agents. In this show, I think definitely for the first time, there's an element of us and them feeling between the agents of DODC and what they're calling enhanced individuals. what's your take on the DODC, Agent Diva in particular, and the kind of actions you see in this episode or in the series in general?
So I've kind of flip-flopped on my opinion of them throughout the whole of this season. Do they have good intentions? Do they have bad intentions? And actually, I think there's kind of a fraction within it, a good and a bad. And I think the bad side, I think we're going to see more of. I don't know if they're setting them up to be, the big bad, and then there'll be the good part of the DODC coming in to save the day, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I'm really on the fence with them. I don't know. I really, really love her character.
Yeah.
And what she does in this episode. Not, fangirling over her, but, it was a really good story. The way they did it was really good. And her relationship with her superiors played out quite nicely. And who is she? What is she from? I know her, and I cannot for the life of me.
Orange is the New Black.
Ah, yeah, of course she is. She's in a what's it called?
Yeah,
in the prison. Thank you.
Very different character.
Thank you. Yes.
That's right. Me and Stefan had that a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I am with it. I've gone from they're the bad, they're good, but they're the intentions are good, but she's a bit of a numpty. Well, and that's kind of where I've landed with it, really.
Well, I think we saw in this episode, for example, her perhaps ambition was reined in pretty hard by Agent Cleary. She definitely went against instructions and kind of just blindly went forward on it. One of the things that I found a little bit curious in this, or I can't make my mind up, again, potentially overthinking. Stefan, I'm going to bring you in on this because the X-Men reference in this show.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There's the X-Men reference in the show. Now, one of the big things about the X-Men animated series, which was my gateway into Marvel, by the way, I think I've discussed it before, but the X-Men in the 90s, the animated series, was my first comic book, anything that I got really interested in. So obviously holds kind of like a special place for me. But that whole universe, that whole storytelling, there was a definitive us and them vibe. So X-Men were kind of persecuted, and that was kind of the mutants were persecuted. It was a real kind of governmental issue with people having all of these abilities. So I had a kind of a fault with this with the DODC. I was wondering if this is we've had the first use of the word mutation, which is the first hint of mutants.
Yep.
I wonder if perhaps we're also getting in this moment the first hint of a kind of public feeling of fear with people with enhanced abilities. And as if I'm right in thinking that this mutation in Kamala has been caused by something which is going to impact a lot of people, meaning we're about to see a lot of people develop these abilities, mutants. It's like a public feeling of, this is too much. You can imagine it. Unfortunately, we live in a time where we see this a lot, kind of, they're different, therefore they're bad. And I kind of wonder if that's where they're going to go with this. But what did you think? I know you were a fan of the animated show as well. What do you think?
See, now, I'm interested. I've said many times in the podcast before with the X-Men stuff, I'm very interested how they're going to do it.
Yeah.
Because there's always been this kind of thing of if the mutants are out there and they're good guys, etc., where were they for the Thanos stuff, the Ultra? There's always going to be that sort of question about it.
Well, I do have a theory. Do you want me to kick off with that?
No, I want to let me tell you my one first. See,
Go on.
I thought the obvious way for them to kind of do it would have been the snap.
Yeah.
So the people that came back from the snap would be the people that kind of had some potential mutation.
Yeah.
And now we've obviously got Kamala, where we found out she's got the mutation, but it was unleashed by the bangle.
No, I don't think they've said that.
They've not said. That's kind of how I've been, because she didn't have these powers before the bangle came in, and then when she got the bangle, she kind of went through the process. I'm like, okay, so that was something that set it off.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, what other events kind of have we had that could have set it off?
Yeah.
Like you, the Marvel universe was kind of introduced to me through the X-Men.
Yeah.
And I do think that's part of the storyline they're going to keep, is this kind of the fear. A lot of the X-Men movies and stuff was always humans versus mutants.
Yeah.
I feel like it's something they're going to have to kind of at least keep hold of to begin with.
Yeah.
Have them evolve to come out the other side and be the X-Men are the good guys and stuff. But I think they're going to need to at least keep that bit involved.
Well, I think like with anything, or anybody, any ethnicity, any group, anything, you're going to have good people and you're going to have bad people. So I think when you've got these X genes happening, you know, if you've got a guy who's a philanthropist, someone who's generally a very good person, all of a sudden they've got these abilities, they'll use those abilities for good because that's what their nature is.
Yeah.
If, however, you've got someone who's been a armed robber, you know, someone who's murderer, anything like that, and they get abilities, they're not suddenly going to go, oh, well, now I can walk through walls, I'll be a good guy. They're going to be, hey,
I can walk into that bank vault now.
Yeah, exactly. So it's that for me was like always one of the really interesting points with the X-Men. Now, talking about the origin of how the X gene could be activated, I mean, I will kind of circle back to it, I think, but it's an interesting debate how they're going to do it. I'm of the opinion, like you with the snap, that seems to make the most sense to me, because you think about the fact that you could have this mutation perhaps exists. So Charles Xavier could exist in this world already, Magneto, characters like that, because perhaps mutations have happened naturally, but there's maybe 100 in the whole world. Does that make sense?
Yep.
But when Bruce, the Hulk, snapped to bring everyone back, that was a massive gamma wave that went around the whole planet. So it might not just be the case of the people who came back. It could be the case of just anyone who had this gene in the whole planet. It got activated by the snap, if that makes sense. And that way it's there, it's dormant, and then something else will trigger it. With Kamala, the bangle.
Yeah.
And now it's there. The people in Westview could have been what happens. Do you see what I mean? It could be lots of events now, as and when stuff happens, the 10 rings, all these different things could be triggering for these different people. And then as more and more people develop these abilities, that's when you're going to start to get the kind of human mutant conflict.
Which can
that's kind of an idea.
Yeah.
Kaylee, do you think we're talking sense or nonsense?
No, I think it makes complete sense. There's so many different. You'll always find a way to explain yourself out of something, won't you?
Yeah.
But I like that idea. Actually, I like the idea of the snap because it answers a lot of questions.
It does.
But like you say, with Westview and Bruce, and you know, there's just so many ways it could be explained, and I can't wait to see how they do it.
No, I agree. They typically get it right. I mean, it's very rare we come away from anything they've done and gone, wow, yeah, that didn't make sense. It's kind of, normally I come away from it and go, bloody hell, I didn't see that coming. Well done.
Ray Winston is a bad guy in Black Widow. That's the only thing I've come away from going, that made no sense.
Not that he was the bad guy, it was the Russian accent that just did me. It was like, nah, just let him be a Cockney. Let it be that he's been undercover so long. It didn't work for me, that, I gotta be honest. But that aside, I'm good mostly.
Yeah.
So I want to run through some bullet points then. First bullet point I want to run through is Kamala telling her family. Kaylee, this scene had me in stitches because anyone who's got a family knows that you tell one of them, you ain't going to be allowed to reveal that secret yourself.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I was in stitches to the point when, you know, the kids came downstairs to see what I was laughing at because it just hit so well, you know, and it felt, have you seen that episode of Friends?
Yeah.
When
that is brand new information.
Yeah. It totally hit like that, and it was brilliant. I loved it, particularly her brother. Yeah, oh my god,
the brother's great. I mean, his role in this finale was fantastic. And by the way, the brother's wife as well, just like, okay, now down to brass tacks. What can you do? Can you do this? Can you do that? It was like, oh wow. They've not only been made aware, they've had time to put together questions.
Yeah. And his dad's back. I was so happy. just to see him. I just want to give him a cuddle.
That man put together probably one of my favourite scenes in any Disney Plus show so far in this episode. When he sat with her on the roof at the end.
Yeah.
Obviously we'll talk about it at the end, but just that, that scene, that was kind of like, oh, this guy.
And he didn't die. All 6 episodes.
Yes. Shut it,
well
you.
Played.
I know you and your evil plans. Killing off my favourite character. But yeah, her telling her family was lovely. The next bit, which was was surprisingly almost emotional for me, was the moment where the mother has made her suit for her.
Oh.
Because it felt like a full circle moment between mother and daughter. It was kind of, earlier on, I've made you this costume to go to your silly party, belittling what she likes to do and almost feeling like she was forcing her to wear something she didn't want to wear, to not only recognizing the girl or the woman that she is now and creating something for her. It was just a great moment. Stefan, I'll start with you because I know Kaylee's definitely going to want to chime in. So what did you pick up that moment? Did you think it was important?
So for me, those of you that have listened to our other Marvel podcasts will know I am an absolute geek for anything that kind of mimics something from the comic books.
Yep.
Especially costumes and uniform, etc.
Yeah.
So the fact that her mum has now given her this costume, I'm like, that is like so close to the comic books. That's awesome. That was like my first.
You were watching the episode and I got in all capital letters, comic book accurate suit with exclamation marks.
Yes. That made me.
No, I know you love it. Kaylee, so this scene for you, did it hit home?
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. And do you know what? I really, really appreciated the fact that they didn't go down the typical trope of, mum and daughter have a difficult relationship and we're going to hang on to that for the entirety of every episode and every other thing and every scenario. The fact that they, but improved that relationship within the series, and they're not going to, create this horrible, sticky relationship between mother and daughter. I love that.
Yeah.
And the box that it was in, I noticed that straight away. It was the milk toffee box.
It was.
I love that. It was so good. And the costume is brilliant.
Yeah.
Or the outfit rather, not costume.
Yeah.
And it just, I really appreciated that they didn't drag that whole thing out, and it was just done, and then we moved on, and it was so good, and I loved it.
Yeah, no, good. I love that.
And scene. A really, really girly thing that I know you guys won't have noticed, and you wouldn't have appreciated it.
Okay.
But did you? Kamala's nail varnish in the colours that match the outfit. And I'm going to do that this weekend. I'm going to have Kamala-inspired nails. Just putting that out there.
Stefan, how about you? Do you think you'll have Kamala-inspired nails this weekend?
Only on my toes.
Yeah. Well, sandal season, to be fair. Makes sense. I personally probably won't. Do you know what? When you said that, then you're like, "Oh, you two guys probably wouldn't notice this." I was like, "Oh, cheeky mother! What have you spotted? You reckon I wouldn't have just because I'm a guy?" Yeah, she had her nails painted. I'm like, she had nails? What the hell? So yeah, all right, I'll let you have that one. Fair enough. Whilst this is going on, Bruno and / Brian is helping Cameron escape from the DODC. Now, in the end of the last episode, which ended very much with a bang, we see, Brian's home and the shop where he works get blown up by a drone, and Cameron appears to be injured as he's helping him through the kind of underground. Now, I have not seen this myself, so I need to stress this really, really clearly. Okay. But there are a number of people claiming that on that underground train there is graffiti, and in amongst the graffiti it's the same as the graffiti in the Defenders series on the Netflix Marvel shows.
That's cool.
So people are saying it's a very, very subtle nod to the fact that, very, very similar kind of setting. I've not looked that up, so if it's wrong, apologies, but I've seen a number of people saying it. But anyway, so those two are kind of on their own, trying to escape, and they contact, I think it's Zoe they contact first of all. No, not Zoe, apologies, Nakia.
Yeah.
They contact Nakia, and she in turn contacts Kamala, and they agree, where are we going to go? How are we going to meet up? And we have a scene where they head to the mosque to meet Nakia. She hits a line which I think absolutely nailed on, along the lines of, "You two, wanted by the authorities, have showed up at a mosque. Are you freaking kidding me?" It's like, this is just the last thing we need. Unfortunately as well, it kind of depicts this show kind of probably based in reality, and not a very nice reality. As she points out that the mosque is likely under surveillance by countless government agencies already. Mm-hmm. So the minute they walked in the door, they'll know they were there. True enough, the DODC do show up pretty quickly, and the Imran intercepts them. Once again, this guy is Mr. Cool, really, for me. he just takes their intrusion and their kind of rudeness, to be quite honest with you, and he just seems to take it in a really kind of loving way. And he does deliver a line when he's speaking to them. I think it's him who says, if just because someone treats you as an enemy doesn't mean that's how you should treat them.
Yes. Good line.
I thought that line was fantastic.
That was my line of the week, actually. We've had a few in this series that have stuck out, and that's Kaylee's line of the week.
Yeah, to be honest with you, it kind of hit home to me because, which is a really pathetic reason, but we've had a fair few comments calling me out on different things, and I kind of heard that line and thought, yeah, okay. if you generally have that opinion of me, that's fine. I'm not going to treat you any differently, but okay, that's fine. So yeah, I appreciated that. I also greatly appreciated the fact that the agent Diva was being so rude to him, and I think he says something to her, and she storms past saying, "I don't have time for a lecture from the Quran." Did anyone else pick up on that line?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
What was it he actually says? Do you remember, or what was it he actually points out to her?
I can't remember.
No, it's gone clean out. It's gone clean out of my head, but he basically just says, "Yeah, that's not from the Quran. That's like quoting
Abraham Lincoln."
Yeah, it's like quoting Lincoln. So shut your face,
I don't
idiots.
have time for your Quranic quotes. Excuse me. And he goes, "Actually, that was Abraham Lincoln."
Yeah, thanks, man. But the guy's brilliant. I mean, the guy literally, as I said, he's just so calm in the face of this blasé attitude in his, and I really admire that. I think as a character, they've really done some. For me, I think they've done a lot of good there. I think there's a lot of people who wouldn't have had an understanding of the faith, etc., and would have just seen these characters in this show and just been blown away by them. One of the things I do have to point out, because I'm just asking for trouble, is they do have a hidden room though, which kind of raises a question mark of like, okay, so why do you have that? Why do you have the secret room?
Yeah.
So I do think that's there.
Dude, I can literally hear emails pinging through as we talk about this. Yeah. It was one of those things of, you've opened the can, let's go for it. Okay, so we're watching the scene, and your first thought is, my God, DOC, they are proper asses. Like, they've just stormed into this religious building. They are literally like, kick down the doors, break the locks. We will search this entire place. Which, as you're watching it, you're kind of like, whoa, like that must be
it's uncomfortable.
Awful. Yeah, so uncomfortable to watch, and that must be awful. You know, whatever building that is, it could be any building. To have people walk through knocking down doors, even if that was your house, you know, that would be terrible. But for it to be a religious building takes it to the next level of just pure like disrespect.
Yeah.
And then they break the two people out of the secret hidden room, and you're kind of left with that little bit of a, that's a bit, okay. How many people have you hidden from the federal agents? Okay.
Kaylee, did you pick up for that? What were your feelings on that?
Well, same as you, really. I thought it was a bit maybe to the wire, but
yeah,
they made it not to make light of a situation like that, but that kind of thing does happen, and to do it in a show like this and to make it a bit lighter, you know.
Yeah, I know.
I think it was really, really well done.
I'm not trying to detract from it, and I also think there's plenty of situations where a community is going to look after one of their own when they are being falsely accused and falsely pursued, and having a room like that, you know, very legitimate. I feel like when you're trying to create a point of kind of like these are law-abiding, good citizens of America, you know, he wasn't quoting the Crown, he was quoting Lincoln. You know, these are Americans, they're just Muslim Americans. It kind of felt like, then they got that room there. And I'd feel that same way, you know, if they were in a Catholic church, etc., etc. You're kind of like, see, and then you've got that one thing there that just makes you go, there's going to be a lot of people. And not from me, from my point of view, I'm kind of like, I understand why it's there. But immediately you're going to kind of, the people that have that more focus on that way of, oh yeah, but, you know, they hide the terrorists away, you know, they do this, they do that. You're kind of just steering into that trope, is what my worry is. But lightheartedness in terms of being able to do the scene, and like I said, the characters are all brilliant, you know, really, really endearing, all of them. I think there's even a little kind of throwaway scene in this where we get to see Nakia walking around basically making her changes now she's been elected to the council.
Yes.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
Which is kind of like, that's going, that needs replacing. Which, you know, you saw the guy following her just kind of looking like, oh no, how much money does she think we have? But the one thing that did happen with the two of them coming out of the secret room, which I feel is now a running Marvel joke, is they put baseball caps on them. And therefore they are now disguised.
Yeah.
Yeah. All they needed was sunglasses and no one would ever have seen them.
I did like that, yeah. Halal and Harlem or something on their hats. And that was it.
Just
Hamran and Halal on their hats. That was it.
Yeah,
and that's it. So they're invisible now.
They are now. Now no one will know
It's
them.
as good as Kamala being out there in her New Jersey AvengerCon top but putting her eye mask on and I'm invisible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. No one's going to recognise that girl now. Not a chance. But yeah, so we do have that scene, and then we have them all meeting up at the school. Now, there's kind of two surprises when they all meet at the school. The first one is the character of Zoe arriving.
Yeah, she's kind of disappeared. Like, she made a real big impact in the first couple of episodes, and then just, like, disappeared.
Well, I kind of thought when we first met Zoe that Zoe was going to be playing a part of the kind of all friends when they were younger, but then drifted apart. You know, she's now part of the cool kids or whatever. And then when we saw Kamala save her at the Avenger Con, I wondered what was going to happen, you know, what was going to be the dynamic. And then, like you say, nothing kind of really happened. She had the house party where Kamala met Cameron. She, you know, was very big on her social media. And it just kind of like, oh, we've met her and that's it. That was her story done. And then the group come together at the school and she kind of rocks up. Kaylee, were you pleased to see her again? And what did you think of the kind of arc of the fact that she knows who Kamala is? Like, she's known from the start.
I really liked it. It did surprise me. I wasn't expecting to see her at all. And the fact that she was in there making TikToks because the light was brilliant.
It was a very solid reason to be there, yeah.
Absolutely. But I really liked it. Again, it was a surprise because in these kinds of shows, and especially in like teen shows, you know, you've always got that character of the mean girl.
Yeah.
And the fact that she's done a whole 360 and she's on their side, I really appreciated that. We don't need another teen angst moment in any of these shows. And I thought it was brilliant. And I really like her.
No, I like her too. And it's funny because up to this point, I don't think we've got a real steer on her character. And then in a scene, maybe two scenes in this, you're kind of, oh, wow, you're really relaxed. You're actually very loyal because, you know, you knew who Kamala was straight when you had zero interest in outing her. The whole kind of airhead thing of, oh, Nightlight's all this was actually to protect her Kamala.
Yeah.
It was a bit of an act. Stefan, what did you think? And did you think, I'll put this to both of you actually. I'll start with Stefan. What did you think about the interactions? And also, did you spot a little spark between Nakia and Zoe?
Oh, no, I didn't spot that.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That might
maybe,
just be me.
Maybe I'll rewatch it, I'll see. But no, I enjoyed it. I thought it was nice to have, like Katie said, it was nice to have, like, we've got Flash from the Spider-Man movies, you know, adores the superhero, but Peter Parker, loser. And that kind of bit of rivalry stuff. So we've got that. We didn't need to have that again. And so the fact that actually she came out like full circle and kind of has helped them out, being there as a surprise, but her actually helping and getting so involved to helping them was brilliant. And a little fun thing for you. So
please,
it says like her TikTok handle is like at the real Zoe Singer, I think it was, something like that.
Yep.
If you go on TikTok, there are hundreds of accounts with that name.
Well, yeah, I bet.
Hundreds.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, just like there's now Sloth Baby Productions everywhere.
And I guarantee, like, the end of the film, end of the show, sorry, you see all those TikTok videos. Yeah. I would love, I'm going to possibly do it, go back, just pause it and search each one and just see how many people have decided, I'm going to be Ruby Rez 335 because that was her auntie's name. See how many followers I can get. Because I guarantee you there's hundreds.
Oh, probably, man.
But I did see, I saw something. See, I was looking at TikTok and that's how I saw it. Someone had done, like, you know, like they do the screen records.
Yeah.
Someone had typed in her handle thing. And they were just scrolling through their phone of the amount of people. All of them with a picture of her character from the show. Just hundreds. Brilliant. It was brilliant.
Just hoping to get a lot of followers.
Yeah.
Kaylee, what same thing to you? Am I just seeing things? Nakia and Zoe?
Yeah. I think it's, you know, when a girl meets another girl that they instantly click with, you know, and it's not, you know, a romantic thing.
Yeah.
It's you know, we are soul sisters. You know, we found a common ground, and it's really rare that you get that two girls will get that because, you know, girls are competitive. A lot of them.
Yeah.
You get the, you know, I'm not like other girls, you know, that kind of thing. But when you find someone that you instantly, or you have that moment with somebody who maybe you haven't got along with, and you find that common ground, and you find, you know, a reason to be close, you can see that, and that was the spark that I saw.
Okay, brilliant. No, that's fine. I'm more than happy to be wrong there. I was just I spotted it, so I said it, and bring on the hate. The other person that showed up, which was a surprise, but at the same time just brought me absolute joy, was Kamala's brother, Amir, because his mum and dad sent him to keep an eye on her and keep her safe, to which she replied, I don't know any other superheroes who are basically being supervised or have someone chaperoning. It cracked me up because, again, her parents are they're just amazing. And you can well believe they'd be like, you go and keep an eye on your sister. Okay. How did you get in here? I climbed in through the toilets. I went to this school too, remember? Yeah, I love that. And so at this point, I'm kind of in this funny place with the episode where they run through the plan, you know, where Kamala's laying out all of her, and the plan's over the top. You know, the skeleton dangling down to cut a thing into the science lab, you know, none of that was needed. It was kind of like all of it was a bit Home Alone. But it was all fun. Like, it was just like, I was really into it and it was fun. And I was kind of like smiling as they're doing it all, planning it all out. Mm-hmm. And then the DODC are coming in and it is kind of, you know, their plan with all the hoodies, etc. It's all of this, like, I think I messaged Stefan this. It was like it was a very funny kids show almost in this moment with no real jeopardy, if that makes sense. But then the tone shifts. And I'm guessing it was deliberate. At least this is how I felt. It felt very chilled, funny, relaxed. And then the moment that Cameron learns of his mother dying, it felt everything then suddenly became real. All of a sudden, his desire just to run away was replaced with a desire to actually lash out. And he seemed to have developed a fairly good control over what he was doing initially, but once his temperament went, you could see that he was just, literally lashing out. That's what it was, and was definitely going to hurt people.
Yeah.
You also see the difference with the DODC, who have been messed around. They've not really done anything that you look at them and they're kind of firing these weapons off, taking chunks of wall out, and you're thinking, wow, if that actually hit someone, what sort of damage would that do?
And then they hit Bruno, and literally hit Bruno. Damn!
I was going to say, and then Bruno gets taken down hard. I mean, Bruno gets smacked in the face.
Yeah.
Which when I'm talking about the tone, it just really, really felt like, wow, okay.
Yeah, there was about...
this is shifted.
Probably about 20 seconds between... The DOC are about to walk into that office.
Yeah.
You've got Kamala and Cameron are hid behind the desk. Now, I put hid in quotations.
Yeah.
Because there's no way in hell that DOC guy stood at the door could not see legs, let alone his shoulder that was hanging out from the side of the desk. But...
I don't know, they got these weird goggles
the masks
and stuff on.
They can only see tunnel vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a stormtrooper's helmet. They can only see that much. But,
exactly, yeah. They can't see shite.
But so I'm sat there and I'm like almost like roll the eyes of, they would have seen that. How did that? Oh, right. It's one of those.
Yeah.
And then like 20 seconds later, you've had Bruno walking in at the almost kiss scene. And you go, oh no, Bruno! And then a couple of seconds after that, it's like, bang! Bruno taken down. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. This has just switched up a bit. What the?
This is escalated. Basically these DODC guys have been hit with softballs. They've had foam launched over them. They've had all of this stuff going on, the strobe lights, all the hoodies. When they actually finally caught up with Bruno, they knocked him out. That was kind of like, oh wow, okay, yeah, all right, this is serious. It kind of felt like I said, lighthearted, and then it was okay, actual real issues here. Kaylee, what were your thoughts on the scenes in general in the school?
I really liked them. I liked the almost, the slapstick element to it, and then the serious, the darker stuff coming into it. This show didn't need to have, these really serious, dark moments the whole way through. It just didn't need that. I think it was done really well. And the foam that you referred to is actually called elephant toothpaste. And we've made some at home, not to that scale, but it's brilliant. Elephant toothpaste. It's a very well known. Yeah. You have to Google it and get the recipe.
Yeah, I did it in the garden.
Don't want to encourage people to go and, ruin their living rooms by...
I did it in the garden with Phoebe when she was little.
Guess
she
what I'm doing this weekend?
But seriously, look it up. It's friggin' hilarious, especially if you don't tell the kid what you're doing. Okay, just add that to that, and then you stand back.
But again, that is a it's meaningful to the audience or the target audience of this show. They know what it is. It's a huge thing on YouTube, and the whatever TikTok was before it was TikTok. It was a huge thing, so they would have instantly recognised what that was.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really funny.
No, it was good. I mean, we then take the fight to the outside, if you like, and there's a moment where I feel like Cameron looks like it looks like this is about to take a very dark turn, if you like. It looks like he's about to literally unleash on the DODC agents who have pushed themselves to the front, and they open fire, which, again, in this show, when you kind of take it from how lighthearted it was just a few moments earlier, like you say, slapstick, they're shooting to kill him. Those are bullets flying at him. That's not those stun guns. They are trying to kill him. And to me, it's like, wow, that escalated so quickly. And she steps in and saves him. She uses her ability to create like a barrier, a shield. and you can see the bullets are chipping away at it. And her parents, her family, they used Zoe's social media following to call people there so there are witnesses.
I loved that. Using, again,
Sensible.
throwback to the Peter Parker thing at the Statue of Liberty.
Yeah.
Using the people to kind of be there as the evidence and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Such a cool little nod to it. I liked it.
Yeah, no, it was good. And she does manage to kind of calm him, explain to him. She tells him, like, she died for you. She died to protect you in this world. So don't throw that away. It does get through to him. He does calm down, and she does manage to find a way to allow him to escape. She, again, thinking... I think one of the things we're seeing with this character, which I've really liked, all the way from the start, is her ability to think under pressure. And her ability... She has a real clarity of thought in all situations. And her clarity of thought in, okay, Cameron needs to leave here because they're never going to stop pursuing him. Red Dagger, and she makes that call, even though Cameron's kind of like, oh, Red Dagger, no, they're like our enemy. And even though the Red Dagger are like, oh, no, he's one of them. She's like, well, yes, so am I, technically. Yeah. I'm a child of. So, come on, sort this out. And she sets it up. And the Red Dagger enable Kamran to escape. And he, our final scene with him is him actually arriving in Pakistan. So he does get away.
Yeah. Now, I know we had a message come in, didn't we, from Ryan about the hole in the floor. Yeah. Now, did she punch a hole in the floor deep enough for him to hide in it? And then... when the crowds all kind of gathered, he snuck up and away? Or did she manage to punch a hole all the way through to the harbour, which is what I think Ryan said?
No, I think she punched a hole down into the sewers.
Yeah.
You freaking... Ryan. Yeah, we do get some messages come in. Thanks, dude. But no, I think just down to the sewers and maybe the subway.
Do you know what? I hadn't even thought of that, actually. Yeah, that's such a more simple thing. Just... punch a hole into the sewers. He can go along the sewers, pop out where he needs to, boom, straight into the harbour.
Do you know, sometimes the simplest
I just went the simple, he's hiding in a hole, and then when the crowd came over, he jumped out. Well, yeah.
I mean, yeah, I suppose. I just like, bye, see you later. Yeah. No, that was my interpretation.
Someone stood there going, whoa, maybe, careful, don't step in the hole.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he was Kamran in a hole. We will never know. Oh, that struck me funny. Anyway, what did you, Kaylee? What did you think of the scene then? So Kamala's done this. She's diffused the situation, and he's gone. She's obviously exhausted from having to use her abilities like she has done. And the DODC are ready to storm and basically take her. And all of the community rushes to her, but not just the community, the local police form a barrier as well. What did you think of that?
I thought that was brilliant, because you could see in the course of the scene that the police were, trying to keep the people back. And then when they see actually the level of aggression that the DODC brought, and then Kamala effectively kind of, from their view, saving them from Cameron, not really understanding what he'd been going through and how he'd got to the point, and then her diffusing it. Yeah. They kind of, for them to turn around and be like, you keep the hell away from this girl.
Yeah, you are not taking her. She's one of us. Yeah.
And that's kind of, when you were talking earlier about the mutant thing and, them being persecuted almost, or, being the bad guy because of the negativity, I'm hoping that actually maybe we don't see too much of that, because already the community has seen, Kamala and the good that she's done. Yeah. Maybe it will still be there, but maybe it'll be a bit lighter.
I think you could be right.
Barrier was brilliant. I really did. I did like that.
No, I loved it. I mean, the moment the police turned to create that barrier between them and the DODC, that was kind of like, oh wow, that's it's kind of a I don't know how much of that happened would be reality. Unfortunately, I don't know. I'd love to think that would be the reality in that moment, definitely. And I think it was a nice moment for all of us to kind of look at and go, that's how it should be. You know, that's what should happen.
Yeah.
From that moment then, you know, everyone kind of disperses, Kamala leaves, and we have, I've just got some bullet points now with some sort of like big scenes coming up. So the first one, Kamala and her dad.
Yes.
And this is the origin of her name, which I did not see coming. And I'm now going to get slammed because a simple Google search would have told me this, but I didn't do it. Stefan, you obviously saw the scene, heard him. Did you get a kind of like a nice moment like I did when he said the words?
I did. When he sat down, he started talking about her name.
Yeah.
I turned around to the wife and was like, oh, Marvel, go on, say Marvel, say Marvel. And then he says something and I'm like, that's not Marvel. That doesn't quite. That's a really sweet moment though. And then he goes, you know, you've always been at Ms. Marvel. And I was like, he did say it.
Kaylee, what did you think about the scene?
You know, it was brilliant. It was brilliant. Even, you know, the perfect wonder, you know, and then when he said Marvel, I was so happy that actually that's how she got her name and she didn't go, I'm just going to be a junior Captain Marvel.
And that was it. The whole time for me, I've just been expecting her to go, well, Captain Marvel's my hero, so I'm Ms. Marvel, you know, I'm this. And for it to actually have a greater meaning to that, the scene was probably my favourite in the whole show. Mostly because the dad's in it and he's a hero. Him walking out on the roof, was this safe? Again, legend.
Yeah.
Just every part of that, you know, his daughter's a superhero, but he's, you know, checking his foot in.
Don't like this. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. Just brilliant. I loved it. Really, really happy with that scene. And the origin of her name now just means so much more, in my opinion. Yes. It was great. Now, the next one I've got written down here, and I'm going to start with Stefan because he might explode if I don't, is Kamala and Bruno are having a conversation. Bruno's on his way to Caltech. Hang on. Come on. For you. I did that for you. Kamala and Bruno basically says, you know, we kind of I think I got this wrong. And by the way, the reason he's looked into this is not because he was bored. Oh, Bruno, you know you can call me when you're bored. Cracked me up.
Yes,
that line,
I love that.
Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And his face is like, no, that's not it, ass. It was because her brother wanted to know if he had superpowers.
Yes, which, let's be honest, if anyone had a sibling that developed superpowers, the first thing you'd be like, what am I? What am I?
Yes, I loved that. Again, no, Amir wants to know if he had superpowers. So he looked into it, and it's not a case of they've all got this. It's the fact that she has something slightly different in her makeup. And then he says the word mutation.
It was so subtle. Yeah, I jumped off the sofa, punched the air, and was like, yes! And my wife is looking at me going, what? What did I miss? What happened? And I'm like, listen. Replayed it, like rewound it, played it again. Went, listen. There's a mutation. Yeah! So what? I don't get it. And I'm like, mutation, mutants, X-Men, the music, it's X-Men. Forget it. Text Sam.
Yes, you're a bit on the side. Kaylee, did this scene hit the same for you, or was it just kind of like, oh, it's a nice scene?
No, it did. I didn't necessarily jump off the sofa, but
yeah, I'm with you. Yeah.
It did. The second he said it, everything kind of fell into place. Everything we've been building up to, and it was such a satisfying moment.
It really was. It was so well done. It was just so, because you didn't need more than that. It doesn't need. All we needed to hear was that, and all of a sudden everyone went, wow. And I'm just going to address this really quickly because I've seen a lot of it, and I'm no expert, but I'm just going to throw this in there. When Marvel Studios began, Marvel Studios owned the rights to certain characters because Marvel Comics had sold a lot of the rights to other film studios in the past before Marvel Studios existed.
It is what saved him from going bankrupt. Yes.
It is. What is clear, as anyone knows, is that they sold the X-Men, and the term mutants was sold with that. Mm-hmm. So when Marvel Studios began and everything started rolling, and in the comics, they suddenly realized they needed to make changes because some of the storylines they wanted to do, and they created, if you like, or brought about Inhumans, which was basically mutants, just another way of doing it. Now, if Marvel Studios at the time of launch had owned mutants, X-Men, all of that, you're likely not to have had Inhuman storylines because they would have just been part of the mutant storylines.
I don't even think they would have created them at all. I don't think we would have even seen the existence of them.
So what we are getting now with the Kamala Khan being our first introduction to the MCU, it's basically like a retcon. It's basically them going, this is how this is what we would have liked. This character would have been. This is how it would, and we're now doing it from here. Now, one of the big things people get very upset about is, in the comics her abilities are this, she's an Inhuman, Please separate them, if you can, because all the MCU are based on comic book stories and comic book characters. Sometimes you're going to get frame by frames, and people can love that, because it's, that's a direct pull. Other times you're going to get, a character wouldn't have done that in the comic. Well, no, because this is based on. This is not we are recreating every comic book. That's not what it is. Comic book doesn't translate to TV and film. It doesn't. It just that you need to adapt it. And that's what Marvel Studios have done better than everybody else.
Yep.
Because people who have tried to do it direct to the page, it looks goofy and crap. People who have tried to take it far too dark and everything like that, it just doesn't work. People aren't interested. Yeah. Marvel Studios, for me, have nailed it. And so therefore, please, 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 the Inhuman X-Men debate, just drop it and enjoy the comics for what they are and enjoy the MCU for what it is. There you go. Their end of the TED Talk.
I am interested to see so there was the Inhuman TV show.
Yeah.
And for all intents and purposes, it kind of flopped. Like, the actual Inhumans TV
Cancelled
show...
after one season.
Huh?
Cancelled after one season on ABC America.
It didn't do well. But then we had the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where you had Skye, Daisy, Quake. And that was fantastic. So there's still this part of me that's like, come on, bring the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. guys. Obviously not Coulson, because he died 400 times. But the Quake and the Fitzsimmons and stuff like that. And I'm now very interested to see, now that we have mutations, mutants, X-Men into the MCU, does that open the door to people like Quake to come into it? Or does that now close the door because she's in Humans and they are now going to the mutant direction? For me, it's going to greatly depend on what they decide to do with the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in terms of where is it, where does it sit, does it sit anywhere? Because you can, obviously, with all of the multiverse, easily play it off, find a way. But at the moment, there seems to be zero appetite to even look at it. Yeah.
I just get the feeling that we're going to be watching something at some point and boom, one of the characters is going to be there. And we're all going to be like, how the, what the? And then they're going to explain it and we're going to be like, oh, wow. Okay. But at the moment, I have got no clue. Like right now, I couldn't tell you how they're going to do it. I have no idea.
No, this is Mac. He's the head of something or another. Wait a minute. Yeah.
Now, so the final scene then to discuss is the after credit scene, which I always enjoy talking about on a podcast because I know for a fact there will be some people go, after what? And they'll be turning this off now to go and watch it because that Disney does happen.
With Disney Plus, I knew there was an after credit scene because the screen didn't shrink and it started telling me of what to watch next. So because it didn't do that, I was like, it's worth watching.
Here we go. Yeah. Kamala is basically chilling out in her costume, and her bangle starts to glow different colors.
Yes.
She's looking at it kind of like puzzled. Oh, I wonder why it's doing that. And then she kind of, I don't know what the right word is here. Teleports? I don't know. She just kind of.
She gets shot through a cupboard door.
Yeah. If I was watching Harry Potter, I think I'd have a term for this, Obliviate or something like that. Where she just seems
Potter
to.
hates mine. Back off.
Yeah. Go on then. What's it called when they teleport in Harry Potter?
No.
Yeah, it could be that. Evaporate?
Apparate? Something, yeah.
Apparate? Kaylee, can you help?
No.
Harry Potter.
Other than the shout.
Yep.
Other than the shout nerds at you, pair. No. No, anyway, she slams through like her wardrobe door, but then when she jumps up, it's not her. It is Captain Marvel wearing a very cool looking new suit, by the way.
Hell yeah. And she's even got her longish hair back.
Yeah. Kaylee, what was your reaction to the after credit?
Well, that was my squeal moment.
Yeah, I bet.
Stefan had earlier. I was so happy. I was hopeful the whole way through that she was going to show up, and she did, and it was so good, and it was enough, and it was brilliant.
Now, here's a question. I'm going to put it to both of you. Kaylee first. Is that Danvers, or has Kamala transformed into Danvers to look like her?
No, that didn't cross my mind. I went down the path of it's some kind of multiverse jump type scenario.
They swap places.
Yeah, that's how I took it. I don't think it was a transformation.
I'm with you on that, but Stefan, did you have any thoughts on that?
I am with you guys, purely on the sense of the way she reacts to holding up a poster of herself.
Yeah. I'm there. Yeah. Looking around a room like, what the? Oh, wow.
I'm in a room full of myself posters.
This is freaky. Now, I don't know about anyone else, but obviously this leads straight into the Marvels movie.
Yeah, it does.
If there is not a scene with Captain Marvel and Kamala's parents, I'm just going to walk out. I'm telling you now. I need her to walk down the stairs of that house and to be confronted with, you need some food before you go. Just like, where's our daughter? Okay, right, well, you go get her then. Here's some food for your journey. I want her to, I want her to have the full experience. I need them in the film. But yeah, the rumors were true then. The rumors right from the start, I discussed it, is that she would be making an appearance in it to set up the movie. What do we think about the movie? I mean, I think they've swapped places. I think in this scene, please go watch it again if you're not sure, she's wearing a sort of bracelet herself.
She has got, yeah.
And with the last time we saw her was in an end credit scene for Shang-Chi, when she was discussing, she had to go, and she was discussing this thing sent a message out deep into space. I don't know. But I'm interested, and I also love the idea that she could have been in the middle of something really quite drastic, and now poor little Kamala has just been blasted right into that and be like, hey, I'm on a different planet. Where am I? I think that kid's facial expressions and I mean, I'm already looking forward to that film. I think it's going to be great.
Yes.
I mean, I enjoyed Captain Marvel a lot. I know a lot of people didn't, but between the 90s music nostalgia and her and Samuel L. Jackson's character being like a buddy cop movie, I loved it.
I thought it was brilliant. I'm looking forward to the next one.
Oh,
yeah.
It's one of my favourites, Captain Marvel. I love Captain Marvel. No. I've even got a Captain Marvel purse.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you?
Yeah,
I mean, I've got two. But anyway.
I wish the entire of my collection was just a purse.
Yeah. Dude. So that is everything I wanted to cover. Stefan, were there any other bits and pieces you feel I've missed or you wanted to talk more on?
No, I'm good actually. I'm going to avoid all the hate mail this week. I am good there, thank you. Yep.
Thank you. I'll take all that on myself. Yep. Kaylee, do you have any other bits and pieces?
Not really, other than, I really enjoyed it, and for all of the kind of quiet moments throughout the season, the end, the last episode was fantastic, and it's just so much. The outstanding thing for me, I think, particularly in this episode, was the music. The opening credits, the music all the way through has been brilliant. The Bon Jovi references,
obviously. I mean, someone did say in our comments, "Stuck the landing." And I have to agree. You know,
it was
show started well. Like I've said about the MCU shows on Disney Plus, it kind of meandered a little, but then boom, absolutely stuck the landing. Better than, I'd probably say better than most.
I would say
most of the shows.
I realise I do have something to add to it, but I'll come on at the end.
Okay, no, well I'm done. Kaylee, are you done?
One last thing. I think we're going to be calling back to this series as we move forward. I think there's a lot coming up that we'll go, episode 5.
Okay.
You know, and we'll have some of those moments, I think.
All right. Well, you're probably right, Stefan.
So we've spoken before, and you just mentioned it about like the pacing of these episodes.
Yeah.
So for me, the first episode, I absolutely like. From the podcast, you probably could tell, I absolutely loved that first episode. It was brilliant.
Yeah.
The last episode, exactly the same. I sat the whole way through it going, this is brilliant. It was those middle 4 episodes that had so much happen, but just didn't feel right. Yeah? So, as we all know, I sit here with IMDb open to kind of find bits out when we talk about the show and stuff like that. So, a couple of fun bits through this series. So, ratings-wise, Episode 1, 7.2. Episode 2 was 7. Episode 3, 7.1. Episode 4, 6.7. Episode 5, 6.5. And then episode 6, 7.3. So the last episode was the highest rated episode on IMDb. However, over on Rotten Tomatoes, this show is the highest rated thing in the entire of Marvel. 98%, I believe.
Wow.
So this,
I'm pleased,
has been like, well, considering so many people slammed, like, we get told off because we've been told off because, we're slamming the show. We have never slammed the show. We have never slammed the characters, etc. We've just said about bits that for us didn't quite hit us, so to speak. But overall, like, there was a lot of people that criticised it, but all the ratings out there, it seems to have done fantastically, which is only a good thing.
And do you know what that is? I reckon that the people, traditionally, people who go and leave reviews and things are, you know, huge comic book fans. There's a whole new generation now and a whole new group of people that would have come into it for this show that might not have seen anything before. And it's those people that are going to leave the reviews. I am sick of, you know, what, you know, and I'll get told off for this, but older generations of comic book fans gatekeeping the new stuff that's coming out. Oh, you're not a fan, you can't watch this, you don't like it, you don't know what you're talking about. I hate that. This is for everyone, and I think this show has done that, and I think it's been brilliant.
Yeah,
the gatekeeping in fandoms is a bizarre thing. We hit that in Star Wars a hell of a lot. In Marvel, it never used to. At least I never saw. I think when the MCU was rolling, the original Avengers, etc., there was none of that. The minute they started making the changes, introducing new characters, you saw it like straight away. It was like, oh wow, really? that's an issue for you. But anyway, I'm not going to dive too much into it because I have to wear a tin hat every time I enter the comment section as it is right now.
Yeah, so the only other thing I wanted to mention was when Kaylee... Kaylee was just saying about rating-wise, yeah?
Yeah.
So on episode 1, 12,421 people left an IMDb review.
Yeah.
Every week, it dropped down to 8,100, 5,900, 5,100, 4,500, 3,200 have left a review on the last one. Like, those numbers have dropped dramatically. But the rating on the last one has gone up. And I wonder now, it's like the old saying of if you have a good experience, you tell your friends. If you have a bad experience, you tell Facebook. And
absolutely.
There was an old theory I used to, in a workplace I used to have it on a whiteboard. If someone leaves here happy, they'll tell 2 friends. If they leave here sad, they'll tell Facebook. It makes you think. Yeah. This was working in good old retail, but it makes you think. And I wonder if that's the case. At the beginning, everyone watched it because it was new, so everyone had an opinion. And by the end of it now, people are just saying the good stuff. Like, people are just kind of happier with it now. Like, now it's concluded and you can look back on it all. I'm now looking back on it with a lot better opinion than I was, say, after episode 4, episode 5. Now that it's concluded and we can see the whole story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
it's a really divided opinion online. Yeah. If you look at the comments on posts and things, it is a real Marmite type.
It is. Yeah.
Show. You either like it or you hate it, and you're saying that it's the worst thing Marvel have ever done. I think that's rubbish. I think it's brilliant.
It is. I mean, opinions are subjective. I mean, I'll leave you all with the wisest words I was ever told. Opinions are like assholes, and some are full of shit. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our show. I'll have to edit that probably. Yep. Stefan, say goodbye to everybody.
We out.
Kaylee, say goodbye to everyone.
Bye.
And then you came. You were just so perfect. That's what Kamal means in Arabic. Perfect. But in Urdu, it's more like, what's the word? Wonder. Marvel. Kamal means marvel.
I share the same name as Carol frickin' Danvers.
I don't know who that is. But you sure are, and always have been, our own little Miss Marvel.
Thank you for listening to the Stuff and Things podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. You can find us on Facebook or online. Simply search the Stuff and Things podcast to join in our conversation every week.